obviously the hottest topic right now is the Philadelphia 76ers, but more so Joel Embiid. The reigning MVP was diagnosed with the displaced flap of the
Bro, when they called
meniscus.
that shit a flap.
Flap, yeah. Was diagnosed with the displaced flap of the meniscus in his left knee and is considering surgery. So a displaced flap is considered to be a type of tear of the meniscus, according to an orthopedic knee specialist. So Embiid, his doctors, and the 76ers are continuing to discuss whether the best source of action is to rest and rehab the injury or to undergo a procedure that would require him to miss an extended period of time as well too. Jonathan Kuminga obviously fell on his left knee, and even before that, they came out with reports, and he even came out and they said he had some general knee soreness as well too. So that kind of sucks because in 34 games this season, Embiid was leading the league in scoring at 35.3 points per game, averaged 11.3 rebounds and 5.7 assists and 1.8 blocks, and had Philly in a position to be a top 4 seed. So obviously this is going to be a major, major blow to not only the city but the organization and Joel Embiid as well, given the injury history he always has. But Carl, what are your thoughts on Joel Embiid's injury, man?
I mean, I think this season is just kind of a perfect example of like the idea that Joel Embiid could be. It's like this is the perfect example. Like, okay, he can go out, completely dominate a game, and for me, there are other parts to it, but one of the main reasons on why I can't say he's better than Jokic is because your availability does matter. And Embiid is just always injured. And to be fair, he started off his career injured. And like, I've heard something about this as well. It's like 9 times out of 10, if you start off your career injured, it's gonna, especially as you get older, you get closer to 30, which is where he's at now. Your body doesn't get better, you know? Mm-hmm. So yeah, he missed his first 2 years before he even came in, and then that first year he still, I think, ended up tearing his meniscus or something like that. Mm-hmm. And as we know, every year in the playoffs he seems to get hurt, and yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think it just is par for the course for him, honestly. Mm-hmm. If I were them, I would probably just have him sit out the whole rest of the year, because at least you can come back next year and try and do things differently and hope that he's more healthy. But I think we've seen every time he tries to come back from something in the playoffs, it's just clear he's not the same. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I mean, it's a tough situation. Like, he's your best player. It's hard to kind of trade that and get equal value, but also he's just not someone you can always count on to be there.
Yeah. So you say if you're the organization, you basically let him get his surgery, and then you let him sit out the rest of the year. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess that's also a good thing too, because they do have some assets. Tobias is in his last year as well too.
I'm pretty sure.
So now you can kind of figure out, all right, what pieces do we actually need to go along with Maxey and Joel Embiid as well too. So I'm not mad at that as well. Knowing Joel Embiid, he's probably going to want to come back, but it just depends on where they are with seeding, and that's something else I was going to ask you as well too, because right now they're 5th in the Eastern Conference. They're 30-18, and they're only 2.5 games behind the number 2 seed. So, how do you see them panning out? Moving forward. Like I said, we don't know the exact time frame. I'm pretty sure with how they love headlines and narratives, they probably already know what it is. But tomorrow, like for example, with major networks or outlets like First Take, we're gonna know exactly if he's gonna get surgery, he's gonna sit out X, Y, and Z. But how do you see the Philadelphia 76ers with their current roster faring with the rest of the NBA with their schedule?
Not that well, to be real. But I think that they can, being at where they're at now, I don't think that they will just bottom out and fall out of the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But I don't think they're going to, I'll say this, I don't think they're going to gain any ground with him being out. Mm-hmm. I think it'll be kind of more of we can be like a 500 type of ball club. Yeah. And take advantage of where we already are. But Maxey's cool. And I guess Tobias Harris is cool too, but like that's really their team. I feel like usually there's a reason that someone has to get you 35 a night. Yeah. If you know, like looking back, like when Harden did it, look when Kobe did it, it's because they had to do it. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, because they had to do it. Mm-hmm. So like that is just very tough to replace.
Mm-hmm.
And it also kind of says a lot about like the rest of your team is built perfectly for when you have its full complements. But
Yes.
you take away the biggest part of it.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, honestly, look at like the Grizzlies. Like when Ja came back, they were a good team.
Yeah.
Now without him, they're back to being a lottery team.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I'm looking at their schedule right now just to name a couple games coming up. Clippers, Kings, Clippers, Lakers, Suns, Heat, Bucks, Knicks, Pelicans, Grizzlies, L's.
Grizzlies, those are some dubs, but other than that, yeah.
And they lack size too.
Yeah,
in the
Paul
front court.
Reed is their only other center, and he's what 6'9" or something like that.
Yeah. So, and who's available? You know, I always say this shit to you and Terrence. What about Boogie? Nah. Nope.
Not if you. Boogie, I do think he could still be in the league, but I think it's more of a like the roles that he was playing those last couple of years, which is like 14, 15 minutes off the bench. Yeah, you know. Yeah. I don't think that's going to make a huge difference right now.
They're about to get punished right now in the paint.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think this is a blessing in disguise for Tyrese Maxey now being the number one option?
No, because he was already getting. It was just those two. So it was like Kobe and Shaq, you know, like Kobe was still shining when Shaq was there.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah, when he's gone, you're going to have a little bit more opportunity. But like the ball was still in his hands. Like if it wasn't in Embiid's hands, it was in his hands.
Yeah.
Tobias Harris wasn't really playing with the ball. Like, so. Yeah, no, I think, I mean, overall for, I guess if they have, you know, some young players on the team, I can't even think of, honestly, outside of Maxey, any rookies or really young players they're playing.
It seems like all vets to me.
Yeah, so I think the most is if they have their pick, you know, something kind of like draft related.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a tough situation because they're a team that's kind of built to like win and contend now.
Yeah. Nah, yeah, that's a tough one, man. To kind of just piggyback off of that, I think, like I said, we got to see the reports. Now, if it's a scenario where he can come back towards the end of the season, at best, probably like a 10 seed, bro. I think they're going to start to lose a little. But they got enough W's, though, that they can, like you said, play 500 level basketball. But I think when it's all said and done, I think they're going to be a playing team.
If they're a playing team, they need to sit him because I don't see him being able to make it through one or two playing games plus the rest of the playoffs.
Yeah. You play every other day, too. That's a tough one. So,